You're listening to the Easy Feed Podcast, episode number 78, an interview with Amy from Healthy Little Foodies.
Hi there, I'm Karina Savage, and with over 20 years experience feeding children, including my own, I've learnt all the secrets that busy mums need to get their children eating better and actually enjoying healthy foods. So a huge welcome to the Easy Feed Podcast.
Amy holds a Bachelor of Food Science. She is a recipe creator. She holds a certificate in childhood nutrition. She is the recipe developer, photographer, and voice behind Healthy Little Foodies. Originally from Scotland, she's currently living in Sydney, Australia, whilst raising two Healthy Little Foodies herself. You can find out more information about Amy at her website, healthylittlefoodies.com. So I wanted to interview Amy. I wanted to pick her brains. I wanted to find out her secrets. So without further ado, let's dive into the podcast. I am super excited today to have Amy from Healthy Little Foodies on the Easy Feed podcast. I first stumbled across Amy online years ago now, and I was so impressed with her recipes. They were delicious, so practical for parents, that I really wanted to get her on to share her with all my listeners and to get more people moving to Healthy Little Foodies for their food inspiration for feeding their kids.
Thanks for having me, Karina. I'm delighted to be on the podcast. Thank you.
So please tell me, where did this all begin for you? How did you get interested in food? Like, what was it for you that, made you think, yes, I want to get into food and making food and sharing recipes with the world?
I think I've always enjoyed food. I grew up with a foodie mum who always made lots of different meals, had lots of dinner parties. I also spent a lot of time with my grandparents who loved to bake and cook, and both me and my siblings just loved that. But we also got to travel a lot, and I think that was probably the biggest influence on how much we loved our food. We went to France, Italy, Hong Kong, Thailand for the whole summer because both my parents were teachers and we had lots of relatives that lived abroad. So it was really lucky to go and spend time there. And if you're there for 6 weeks, you get to see so much more, and you go into the supermarkets, the cafes, the bakeries in the morning, and you get to see so much. And I think just as a young kid, that to me, it was all the different smells, the textures, the tastes just appealed to me. I never really thought I'd do a job in food until I was applying for university courses. I enjoyed science at school and I chose sciences at a higher level. And so when I was looking to apply for jobs, I was just trying to see what subjects would fit in well. I knew I didn't want to study a straight science. So when I came across food science and nutrition, I was like, this sounds like what I want to do. So applied for that and then really enjoyed it.
It really resonated with me what you said about, I didn't get to spend 6 weeks in France, but whenever we travel, we like to spend, as much time as we can in one place rather than spending 2 days here and 2 days there, because you start to really immerse yourself and you can go to the supermarkets and you can start to live a bit more like the locals, and you can see things that you wouldn't necessarily see if you were just flying through, with a couple of nights stay. So that's, oh my goodness, that's amazing that you got to spend all of that
Yeah, we
time
were
abroad.
very lucky to have relatives abroad as well. Very lucky.
So good. And such different cuisines as well. So what is your favorite cuisine? I'm interested.
Probably Thai.
Yeah?
Thai or Indian or Mexican. I love spice, chili, anything with chilies.
Yeah.
My eldest isn't as keen, like not to the level that I would have chili, but yeah, they all like the spice
So
as well.
good. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing. It's really what they're familiar with is what they'll tend to gravitate to, I think, as adults. So yeah, and look, I grew up in an Italian home, basically, like my mum's side's all from northern Italy, and so I've grown up loving Italian food, and that would be my food of choice. It's just, I guess it's what I know and what I love, and my kids love Italian food as well. But I do love other cuisines as well. And I'm really loving the Japanese style. We went to Japan earlier in the year and I really loved the food over there as well. So, look, I love all food, probably a bit like you. But
We're just back from Japan as well.
Really?
The
Such
boys
good food.
loved it. Yeah, the food in Japan's so good.
Yeah, and it really caters to all tastes and well, I guess not all tastes because it's very
Mhm.
it's very Asian, but, you know, it we have different dietary, needs in our family, and everyone loved it. Everyone loved eating that. I mean, my daughter's
Mhm.
vegetarian, and it was a little more challenging to find vegetarian
Mm.
options. You had to do your homework a little bit more, and my son, we kinda need lactose reduced, and so that was a bit of a challenge trying to find low lactose milk in the supermarkets, but, apart from that, like, I felt that it was, yeah, such good food. So, yeah,
Yeah, very
wonderful.
good.
Well, as a food scientist and recipe creator, what is, one thing that you wish every parent understood about feeding kids that some people don't?
I just think that people need to understand that every child is different, and so what works for one child is not going to work for the other. And I think we're just bombarded with all this information, and I just think that if we understood that everyone is different, and someone might just a child might just eat well by handing them the food. Others might need lots of exposure. Others might need to cook with you and go shopping with you and meal plan with you. Others might need to um, have a lot more intervention. And I think have to step back and not blame ourselves and just try and go back to basics and just relax when we're feeding kids. I mean, what worked really well for me was a routine. My kids thrived on routine, so they knew when their food was going to be served. They had their three meals and their two snacks, and they knew roughly at what time. They were always not starving, but they were hungry when they came into meals. So they ate well because of that. So I found just having a simple routine and just treating my kids the way that they are rather than how the next door neighbor or a friend's kids were worked really well for me. So really just putting your own child at the center of everything.
I absolutely love that, and I think it's a nice reminder, I should say, when we see so much online about do this to get your fussy eater to eat or do this to get your child to eat, but what works for one family won't necessarily work for the other, and so important to understand your child and put strategies in place that work for your child. And I love that, and
Mhm.
a feeding routine is so crucial as well because it just gives them comfort. Kids thrive on routine, and I remember I needed to get my kids into a better routine when they were younger, and when I did, it was incredible the difference it made. Yeah, and definitely it helps with snacking too, doesn't it? If they're snacking right up
Well,
until
I
dinner
know my
time.
oh yeah, definitely. And I know myself, if I've had the day of snacking, I don't even feel like the meal myself. So I always thought of that. I was like, well, if I'm feeling like that, they're going to feel like that. And I know it's really difficult. You're out shopping or you're in the car, and snacks are just an easy way to babysit, occupy kids when you're out and about and keep them quiet. And I think it then is a vicious cycle. You're using all these snacks to keep them quiet or entertain them in certain ways. And then when it gets to mealtime, they're not always hungry. So I always find just stricter routines work for my kids.
Yeah. I think for me, I had to learn confidence with feeding, and I feel like sometimes parents, myself included, I lacked the confidence to be firm, and sometimes then the children have more say and power than they probably should.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had the confidence to say, "No, this is the routine," and they responded to that and then therefore ate better because they had a bit of an appetite
Mm.
to eat. So, yeah, I think that's really important. Why do you think feeding kids is so hard? And I feel like I don't know if it's harder now than ever or maybe because I'm a parent now, but why do you think feeding kids is so hard?
I think, as you mentioned, it's just we're overwhelmed with it. We've got so much advice at our fingertips. We just scroll on our phone and you see so much more information, and the internet's not regulated. So you're paralyzed with, is this real? Who should I trust? Who should I be listening to? And you don't know what's credible. People are getting paid to say things. You don't know their intentions. So I think with all this information and being paralyzed, it undermines your confidence. And I think when you feed someone with worry, kids can pick up on that as well. They can pick up on the fear, which then makes feeding even harder, I think. So I think there is that all this social media, but also all the advertising to kids and the
Yeah.
explosion of all this packaged food that's marketed to kids. I remember doing a study when I was at university, that was way back in the 90s, about marketing to kids then. But now it's just with us 24/7.
Yeah.
And I never had such a problem when my kids were younger, but in the last couple of years, was it a couple of years ago that Prime came out?
Oh
And
my
both my boys were like,
goodness.
We need the Prime, we need the Prime." And that was all advertising. And you
Wasn't
know
it?
yourself know that this is not what you want to be giving them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
That
I just
energy
think
drink,
so the advertising.
you're right. That energy drink, I reckon it had probably the best marketing plan ever
Oh,
with the influencers they
mm-hmm.
use, and they created like scarcity and urgency, and they had all our kids totally hyped for it. It was crazy. I remember my, my friend saying that her kids, I think it was Valentine's Day, and so she treated her kids on Valentine's Day. So it must have been maybe Valentine's Day 2024, I reckon. And so she treated her kids, she said, "Okay, today
Mhm.
you can take my credit card, I'll pull up outside the 7-Eleven or whatever," because there was only a few places that you could actually buy the Prime.
Yeah, it's hard to get. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it was scarcity, and so but it was $20 a bottle, back then,
Oh,
and she said her
oh,
'cause she's got 3 kids, and so she said to her son, "Here, the eldest, you go in, grab 3 bottles, and then we're done. Happy Valentine's Day," and she said she checked her credit card later on, and it was $60, like, you know, from that 7-Eleven, and
oh,
she almost died because she was not planning on spending $60 on 3 Prime drinks, but yeah, the marketing is insane, especially yeah,
mhm.
and oh my gosh, that don't get me started on that drink. It's got one of the sweeteners that is a really bad sweetener in it, and, anyway, I'm glad that the you
Doesn't
know
even taste nice.
no, it's disgusting. I'm glad the craze has gone there, but you're
The
right, they're
kids don't
designed
even
to.
like it.
Yeah, I know, right? It was
They
all
just
in the
wanted to be
marketing.
seen with it. It
Yeah.
was
Yes.
and people were buying just the bottles to fill it up so they could go to school with their Prime bottles.
Exactly what my 11-year-old
It was
son did.
crazy.
He was 10 back then. He goes, "Can I just
Yeah.
have the bottles for my bedroom?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, they all them lined up on their yeah.
He's even got a little key ring that was a Prime. Oh, we were all living the same dream back then, weren't we? Oh, that's
Oh,
so
no.
funny. Okay, so back to you, your talent in the kitchen. If you could teach parents just one skill in the kitchen that would have the biggest impact on how their kids ate, what would it be?
Okay, I think it would be patience. I know that sounds strange as a skill in the kitchen, but it would be patience to be able to take your children into the kitchen to help. And when I say help, they're not helping. And that's why you need the patience because it's going to take you longer, it's going to make more mess. You're going to fall, you're going to get frustrated with them. But I do think getting kids involved in the kitchen is just got so many benefits to life, not just with what they're gonna eat and their want to eat and try different things, but also for their academic skills as well. So I do think it's really good to bring your kids into the kitchen, and you do need patience for that. I think kids who chop and like simple tasks, chopping, tearing up herbs, pushing buttons. My used to like pushing buttons on the food processor, spiralizing, things like that. They're just touching the food. They're tasting as they go along, and they're becoming more familiar with different foods. And I think when they've helped with the process of making things, they're more inclined to try the foods that they've been involved with as well. And I know it
Yeah,
takes
they're
so
more
much time for
empowered to eat
years
it.
and years, but as they get older, they've learned all the skills. Now my 14 and 11-year-old are really good in the kitchen. So it was painful to begin with. And I was trying to record these videos as well. But it's definitely paid off now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do think it's the biggest. Is it a skill, patience? More than
100%.
any other kind of skill in the kitchen, it's definitely would be that for having an effect, I think, on how your kids eat.
I love that, and I wouldn't have guessed that you would have said that, but I think that is so true. It takes me back to when my daughter was probably 3, and there would be oats all over the floor, there would be flour
Mhm.
everywhere, there would be way too much sugar that went into a recipe sometimes, but, you fast forward now, she cooks cakes from scratch, she's cooking her own vegetarian meals, and as you say, you invest the
Mhm.
time early and it pays off. And even though back then she may not have eaten exactly how I wanted it to, you're planting seeds that do grow, don't
Mhm.
they? They grow over time. And I think I'm trying to do the same thing with my son, and he is interested. I probably just haven't put enough effort in with him, but he certainly does have the interest in cooking things. But yeah, I probably just need to
Mhm.
spend a bit more time with him because now I'm thinking, look at how good your kids are cooking. I think we just need to spend the time.
Yeah, it does take time. I mean, luckily, my job involved that, and so when they were little, they were at home with me, so they would see me and they would be with me doing all the recipe development and things like that. So it was easier for me because it was just part of my daily life. But
Yeah.
I know we're all strapped for time, and slowing everything down by bringing your children in is probably the last thing that you want to do. But I really do think it helps if you've got a small, even at the weekends or some part of the day that you can bring them into the kitchen.
I think it's not only making the time, but it's also tolerating the mess. So it's the patience, the
Mhm.
time, and the mess because they do create a big mess. But it does plant seeds, doesn't it? And makes a big difference in the long run because
Mhm.
it empowers them. So have they been your
Yeah.
greatest recipe testers? Have they influenced what's gone up onto social media and what hasn't?
Oh yeah, they've tasted everything. But because they're not that fussy, they seem to like everything. So there's been a couple that were like, no, and we all agreed. But we've had to do things several times before we can get them right. But yeah, usually if they don't like them, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't put them out. What's been
Um,
your biggest
Not
flop?
if they hate them. No,
What's been your biggest, flop?
trying some of these viral recipes, like trying to make breads out of things. It just, yeah, like not getting the textures right and the flavors
Yeah.
bizarre, and yeah.
Yeah, I tried to make this
What's your biggest one?
green this green like a green goddess dressing. Another one was, I tried to blend up cannellini beans, butter beans into, like, a dip. That was a fail, but this green goddess dressing, I just could not get right. It was disgusting. It was so
Oh,
and they ended up with so much of
'cause
it,
that's gone. Oh, no. Does
and
people swear by that one?
I followed anyone else's recipe. I think I was trying to make up my own.
Oh,
And that's where the problem went. Well, that's where it went wrong, I should say,
um,
because, yeah, it was a fail, but that's okay, like, that's how we learn and that's how we get better recipes, right?
mm,
Which one surprised you the most? Which one weren't you sure about, but ended up being one of your most popular recipes of all time?
well, it's funny you say that because the one that's most popular was one that, look, both boys liked it. They thought it was okay, but they're not wanting me to make it all the time. It was vegetable savoury muffins. They have been my most popular recipe for about 5, 6 years now, and by far on my site, this is the biggest one that people come to, and I do get a lot of messages saying that people use them in their lunch boxes. I think they're convenient that way. Little toddlers, they make mini ones for them for snacks out and about. So, yeah, that's been the most popular, but both boys were like, "Yeah, it's alright, mum." Their
And
favorite, but they take so
and then the
yeah,
rest
so
of
I
the
was
world loved
surprised that
them.
one's done so well.
So good.
So
So
it
do
just
you
shows that every child is different.
Yes, correct, back
Yeah.
to that philosophy. No, I love that. So is it pureed vegetables with flour and cheese, is it?
The veggies aren't pure. There's God, it's been so long since I made them. There's peas and yeah, there is chunks of vegetables in grated carrots and grated zucchini, I think,
I love
through
that.
it.
So it's kinda like a
Um,
almost a zucchini slice muffin.
Yeah, lots of yeah, just different and it is muffiny, so I think kids love that texture of a muffin. It is a way of
Yeah.
getting a different flavour. Whereas my kids were like, "That's not how a muffin should taste." Like, it's the savoury
Yes.
thing, I think, threw them a bit on the muffin.
I like
So,
that though, because it mixes it up a bit, and then you don't have to worry about sugar because
mm,
you're just not putting any sugar in there. It's more that's probably something that I haven't really done as much of. I think if I think muffin, I think more sugar, like apple cinnamon, banana,
yeah, I don't have salt in the recipe because 'cause I'd aimed it for babies and things, but when I put salt in the recipe, my boys like them. So I have
mm,
got a note on the website saying for older kids that you could add salt, and it just brings out the flavors
yeah.
more. This not having salt for the babies, it just make it taste quite bland, I
Yes.
think, so
But it's great that you've got recipes that cater for both, and I think it's a really important point because as kids get older, their taste buds do evolve and they do get
mhm.
their friend's packet of, tiny teddies or barbecue shapes or whatever, and they do want those saltier, sweeter foods. I've noticed that with my kids as
Mhm.
they've gone from being, littlies, toddler age to primary school kids to my daughter now starting high school. They want those more sugary, more salty foods. And
Yeah.
so for them to continue to eat the healthy foods, I've had to add a bit of extra sugar or maybe add a bit of extra salt to increase the acceptance of these foods. So they're still eating these foods over all the rubbish in the supermarket. I think that's a really
Yeah.
important point because our kids' taste buds do evolve and we have to adapt. Like we can't expect them to eat, as you say, like the no salt muffins because maybe they don't taste as good, but they're good for
Mhm.
baby. Yeah. So do you when you see a recipe that you wanna cook, do you modify it or do you make it as per the recipe says? Like, can you, I guess, hold yourself back from modifying it, like, making it a bit more healthy or modifying it to suit your family? Or do you just follow it?
If I'm making something for the website, I always modify it to be low in salt, sugar, because of the target art audience. At home, I don't know if I fully ever 100% stick to like, if my husband is making something, he will stick to the recipe to 100%, and if we're
Mm.
missing a tiny thing, I'll say, "That'll be fine, just miss that out." "Oh, no, it says it in the" like, he would not deviate from a recipe, whereas I would chuck things in. I don't measure well, I use measurements if I'm writing a recipe, but if I'm just making it for the family, just by feel and taste.
Yep, yep. Is
So,
he a good
yeah, I
cook?
modify all the
Does he
time.
cook for you very often?
Not very often, no. The barbecue is,
I know
his
that's
favorite.
We got a new barbecue the other day. Literally, it's the first time we've bought a barbecue in about 20 years, but it's really sparked my husband's, I guess, interest. And we've brought it up onto like our back area. So it's much easier to cook. It's not like down, in this corner of the
Mhm.
backyard. So yeah,
Convenient,
I'm
yeah.
hoping, fingers crossed, that that means we have lots more barbecues this summer and I'm not cooking as much. I mean, I prefer the salad,
As
but it
long
is
as you
much
don't
easier.
have to do all the yeah, that's the thing you get they just cook it. But
Mm,
actually, he's quite good at following recipes, like marinating chicken up for the day and just shoving it on the barbecue at night. So I try and say maybe one weekend day you could cook because you just
yeah.
it's tiring, isn't it? Just do it all the time.
Yeah, it's, like, relentless. I feel like
Mm, yeah.
it falls on our shoulders 99% of the time. So tell me,
Yeah.
what are the 3 most underrated ingredients, that parents should know about? Like, what are the secret ingredients that you have up your sleeve that you will just slip into recipes that add nutrition or that make food taste delicious that is good for kids?
I think, like, I do think frozen fruit and veg is so underrated
Mm.
because especially prepared, the frozen veg is all chopped for you, it's washed for you, it's clean for you, everything's done for you. So it's quick to add into stir fries, or you can get the riced veggies that you could put into sauces and things, and you've got even like chopped onions now. So there's if you are on a time restraint, you've got everything, and I just find, especially for slow cooker meals or fast stir fries, that frozen veg is so underrated because nothing
So
goes to
easy.
waste. It's usually
Yeah,
cheaper and it's always fresh. So that
yeah.
would be my number one. You'll find that there's a lot of lentil recipes on my website, mainly
Mm.
red
Red
split lentils.
lentils.
I think red split lentils because it's the most popular in Scotland, so that's what I've grown up with. So I
Mm.
use them a lot, and I love how the red lentils are soft
Yes.
for babies and toddlers. So I've used, we've got lentil bakes and lentil pancakes and lentil bologneses and lasagnas on the website, lentil pasta sauce and things like that. So I
So
use
good for
them a
us.
lot.
Yeah.
And again, they're shelf stable, they don't go to waste. So if you don't get around to using them, it's
Yeah.
still good. So, and you can make the sauces up, freeze them
I love
just
that.
for convenience on your busier nights.
Mm.
Um, we have a lot of Greek style yogurt. I know that's not underrated. I always think that everyone talks about how great the
Yeah.
yogurt is, but we
Yeah.
use it a lot. My son will come home from school and chop up fruit and have it with just the plain yogurt. We use
Wow.
it to make dips and sauce
Yeah.
in salad dressings. They love
Yes.
it if I put yogurt in the salad dressing, and they eat
Yeah.
so much more of the veggies if it's covered in a nice creamy yogurty sauce. So I use that a lot, and I think Greek yogurt's great as well. Oh, and maybe spices and herbs. I think
Spices and
they're
herbs, yeah,
underrated
they're super
sometimes.
nutritious as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they make it taste good. I think sometimes people are worried to use them for babies, but unless you're adding, chili powder,
Mhm.
like they're good. And you look at all the pouch baby food, and it always has lots of your herbs and things like that to flavor it instead of salt. I love the idea of using yogurt as a dressing to increase them eating vegetable, increase the consumption. So they might have one asparagus without the yogurt dip, and if you put more on it, they might eat more, or broccoli or whatever the vegetable is. I love using yogurts and sauces and, dipping
Mhm.
whatever you wanna dip it in to increase their acceptance, and I think that's a great way to try and get kids to eat more vegetables, or using olive oil and lemon and, those nice
Yeah.
natural flavor enhancers and healthy flavor enhancers, I should say, not the stuff that you see in the supermarket.
Yeah, definitely.
So good.
And it's just the way you cook the vegetables can change the way that they're accepted. By adding olive oil and roasting them can make them sweeter and more like my kids love it that way then with a yogurt dressing on top rather than just steamed veg is maybe not as popular in our house. So yeah, the yogurt dressings and adding olive oil or butter or salt now that they're older and things just to enhance their flavors really help.
Yeah, and that's where your food science knowledge comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The culinary nutrition. I was at a conference recently and it was so interesting how they, acidic like lemon juice to release flavors or to complement flavors. And it's a
Hmm.
whole new world of, well, it's not a new world, it's been there, but it's super interesting to me to look at how these flavors combine. And, for our kids, just simply using good quality olive oil or, whatever's affordable, but, putting olive oil or lemon juice or an avocado dip or yogurt dip just to enhance the flavor and get kids eating, enjoying, I should say, more
Yeah.
vegetables rather than, like a soggy steamed broccoli that's sitting on its own that's like plopped onto the plate. So your children are a similar age to mine. Are you at all concerned about the type of foods that our children are eating or exposed to in the supermarket shelves? We've talked a bit about food marketing and advertising to our kids, but do you think that we as parents should be worried, or do you think there is concern or that anything needs to change in terms of our future generation of children and how, we're looking after them and how they're gonna be eating moving forwards? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think it's so hard because I have been extremely lucky with both my boys. They're always been good eaters. But I would say now is the hardest time I've had with
Really?
because just the independence now of being in the second year at high school and he needs to take a couple of buses to get home. In that second stop before the next bus, of course, it's McDonald's,
Uh,
there's Woolies, there's all the food joints. And he goes
mm,
with his friends all the time. And I'm always getting at, like, I don't want to make it too negative. So I'm trying to say, remember, if you're doing your sports, you should be filling your body with. But it's not just the amount of rubbish that he's eating with his friends. Like they go to Woolies. I know he's buying bags of lollies. Like I can just figure it out by his bank transactions. I'm like, oh, I've worked so hard and you are such a good eater and not a fussy eater, but you're just drawn to this. whether it's with friends, advertising, or just because they taste good, so I'm finding that really difficult just now. But I do remember when I went off to university, being away from home. I grew up in a smaller town, so there was no access to anything like McDonald's or anything like that when I was in high school. But when I went to university, I did exactly the same. I bought rubbish for my first year, and I'm sitting in classes learning about nutrition and food science, and then all of us were going out and buying. And I think after a small amount of time of doing that, I grew out of it and went back to eating better. And I'm just hoping that he does as well. But it is so hard for everyone because it's everywhere. Like everywhere we go, we walk down aisles of temptation and marketing to us, and even the food that's meant to be healthy to us, like falsely advertising how great they are. It's just so difficult to interpret and choose. And temptation, I think, is the
Yeah.
biggest thing. But yeah, I
I
definitely am finding it harder now. But I do think, like, I have Google alerts up for processed food and everything. I've got a Google alert come up with when articles come up on that. And there is so many more articles now talking about it and how people are very anti all the foods.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if we're going to start maybe seeing a shift back to simplicity. I don't know.
I hope so
If
because
convenient foods are always going to grow. I don't know.
well, I think you're right. I think they're at an age where they're invincible and everything, they're just gonna eat what they want. If they've got the money and the lollies there or the chocolate's there or the Macca's is there, they're gonna
Mm,
eat it because 'cause they're invincible, it tastes good, and maybe that's a maturity thing in their mind. But I think also, I reckon your children, those seeds have been beautifully planted and they will come back to healthy eating once they
mm.
get through this stage, and I'm hoping that the same happens with my children
You
because
just hope.
I think they'll yeah. Yes, you
I
do. But
just
I think,
I try and put it onto the money. I'm like, "Do you know how much this is costing you?" Like, I try and instead of always going on, "This is not good for your body," and all that, I try and say, "Look, Finley, if you want to save up for such and such, you cannot be spending more money than you're earning going
yeah.
to fast food joints and buying all this stuff." And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna start only putting this amount of money into my spend money a week." So I don't know, but he
Is
says
it
a
on
lot of
a
things
card?
and
Because
whether it'll happen.
I reckon when it's on a card versus actual cash,
They
they don't
don't.
they don't seem to realize that there's actually money. Do you know what I mean? You just tap and I don't know, in terms of the psychology of how much money is literally going down the drain,
Mhm.
I think it might be different if they actually had coins, but not who has coins these days, right? I think it's an age and a stage thing, and I just hope that they come back to what they were familiar with growing up, and I think they will. I think it's just a stage, but I
Yeah,
do agree with
and you
you.
want them to be social, and you want them to be able to hang around with their friends and not feel like they're different in any way, so there's all that side of it as well.
Yep,
Oh, it's
totally.
difficult.
Yeah, it is, and sometimes the healthier food, like my son was like, "Oh, can I get an acai the other day?" And all his mates were doing it, so I was like, "Sure," but, they're like $12, $15 versus a slushie with $3, but so the healthy food's actually more expensive, which is annoying that,
Yeah, it is
it's hard,
annoying.
but yeah, you walk down the supermarket aisles and it's just full of rubbish. I do agree with you. The more awareness and the more it's discussed, hopefully we are moving. It's really about the parents educating the kids. And it's just those, continuous subtle messages, but it's also managing it because I think we need to acknowledge that our kids are gonna eat this stuff. It's just about how much of it they're gonna eat.
Luckily, it's not affected his appetite at home, like, he'll come home and still eat a full meal, which at least he's then eating good food then,
Yeah.
it'll be when
Yeah.
he starts eating that and then no longer wants to eat
The good food.
the good food.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a 14-year-old boy who wants to bulk up, and that's all the new thing that he's wanting to do, and, yeah, times are changing. I'm not ready for this.
I've got one last question for you. What is one recipe on your website, Healthy Little Foodies, that you wish every parent would make this week because it's a fantastic recipe. I mean, we've heard about your veggie savory muffins, and I'm definitely going to be checking them out. And what's another one? Give us another one that's a really big win for nutrition, for sanity, makes you feel good that your kids are getting some goodness into them, but they still like it.
Well, my kid's favorite, and one of my favorites because of how easy it is, it's baked chicken fajitas. And what I like about it is it takes me 10 minutes to prep it in the morning. Put it all onto a large bake and put it in the fridge, and then the ovens does all the work when you're busy coming home from sports and stuff like that. The boys love it because they just love eating fajitas, tacos, anything like that. They love their Mexican style food, and they like that family meal style of choosing their toppings, their guac and their cheese and their yogurt toppings and things like that. So I think it's a good meal for being a good interactive meal, a good meal for children. They're like feeling like they're in control because they plate it up themselves, and a good meal for the parents because it's so easy and quick. So
Amazing.
I've
So
actually got it in the fridge for tonight.
oh, do you? That's so good. So
Yeah.
what do you prep in the morning? Like, what would I do tomorrow morning to prep for these
So I just
pages?
chop the onions, the capsicum,
Yeah.
onions, and the chicken, and then just in the spices, and just let it sit. Chopped it all up, like sliced up the chicken and let it all sit in the pan baking
Ah,
tray for the day. And then it's just a case of putting it in the oven. I can also make up the guac, but the boys usually do that and grate some cheese and things like that. So,
amazing.
well, no, I don't know. There's a lot more to that's not doesn't go so well. The food side's okay. There's a lot of other sides not so good. Oh,
Oh, we're all a work in progress, right?
yeah.
So tell me, Amy, how can they find you and find out more about you and Healthy Little Foodies?
Okay, so my website is www.healthylittlefoodies.com, and there's an about page and a start here page that you can find out more about the site and the page. And then my social media is Healthy Little Foodies for Instagram and Facebook, TikTok as well, but I have not been on there for a long time. And Pinterest is H Little Foodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Wonderful.
wasn't enough for Healthy Little Foodies, but the rest are all Healthy Little Foodies. So
Yeah.
easy to find.
Yeah. And you have a lot of recipes online and on your website, like huge amount of amazing recipes, right?
Couple,
Yeah.
few hundred,
Hundreds
maybe.
of
Mm.
free great recipes. So basically you just head
Free,
there and you
yeah.
just pick your category and
Mhm.
what you feel like making or what you want your children to eat more of. I'm definitely going to check out the fajitas and also the I'm going to check out more of the recipes, but I'm going to look for those veggie muffins as well.
So there's a section now I've started to add, so not the older recipes don't have it all yet, but I've started to add a section for babies just because that's the question I get asked most. What age is this suitable for? And so for the recipes, it breaks down how you would maybe remove a portion for your baby and how best to serve it. So if you've got a 6-month-old
Yeah.
onwards, but also got a toddler and you want to make one meal for the whole family, there's just little notes on how to remove for smaller ones and how to serve it on that. So that's on the newer recipes. I am trying to go back and putting it on all.
Oh,
It's just
wow.
that's what's asked most.
Yeah.
How do I adapt this
Adapt
to?
it. I think that's fantastic. And it
Mhm.
means that parents just have to cook one meal because at the end of the day, that's
Yeah.
what we want, right? Just to cook
Yeah.
one meal and then adapt it to suit all ages. So that's brilliant. Oh, well, thank you for your
Mm,
time and effort
mhm.
doing that.
No problem. It's just that is what gets asked most, so I've just started doing it. I don't even know if people notice it, but I
Mm.
haven't been asked as much, so probably is. So.
Well, I'm definitely going to check it out. And I'm sure everyone who's listening to this podcast episode will. And I just want to say a huge thank you for your time, for your thoughts, for your expertise, for sharing so many wonderful recipes, and for speaking with me today.
Thank you. It's been great fun. Thank you.
I will wrap it up there. I hope that's been a good one for you. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review. It really helps the podcast to get out to more parents so we can help more and more parents. And if I can help one more parent every week to take the stress out of feeding their kids and give them some quick and easy wins, then I'm achieving what I wanted to with this podcast. So thanks for being here, and I hope you have a great week. Bye for now.